Lucas Oil on the Edge is going all out with this week's episode. We're taking it to the water for snowmobile drag racing. That's right. I bet you thought snowmobiles were only for the snow, but we've got something different for you that's on the edge. The snowmobiles will be screaming down Memory Lake in Grantsburg, Wisconsin. Then we'll be kicking it off with two-wheel beating and banging on the ice in Hofmann Estates, Illinois, with motorcycle ice racing. It promises to be an action-packed episode that you don't want to miss.
Got it tacked up, and if you get too close, you're getting cracked up. Stone cold when I roll, coming out of the hole. Get back, cause I'm out of control. I'm on the edge.
Ice, baby, out there busting the move, making it happen already. Ken Stout, Brian Olson, and Ted Brunson ready to call all the action for you here at the Indoor Pro Bike Oval Race on Ice presented by Lucas Oil. Yeah, the house is packed. Welcome to Lucas Oil on the Edge. We are ready to get after it here and talk about some gnarly stuff. Yeah, those guys have zero fear, I promise you. Now, with more on the bikes, let's go to Ted.
Well, you're looking at this Kawasaki, and this is ridden and owned by Tom McGrain. Now, we know that all these bikes are basically all spec. They're all 450cc's. They're made by just about any maker imaginable, and they're all here tonight. But here's the big part about this class, and it's the studs on these tires. Over 1,000 studs or screws are in this tire. Now, let's talk about side bite, which is so important when you're making those turns. If you take a look right here, this is angled just a little too much, maybe 30 degrees. It needs to be perfectly straight, so this has to be adjusted. It needs to be straight for that perfect side bite. Now, if you go up here, this is where they start to straighten out. This, angled at about a 45-degree angle this way to my right, is for the forward bite. This, angled back this way, that's for the braking. Keeps you straight, keeps you up. It's amazing, over 1,000 screw studs are in the back tire of this bike, but it's so crucial. He'll go through just about every one of these to make sure they're exactly where they need to be, because it could be just that one stud, that one little screw, that will screw you up.
Like every other form of motorsports, Brian, it is critical on every aspect of the machine.
17 bikes here all together. We'll have a lot of heat races, 12 to be exact, and a last chance qualifier for the main event.
Tonight it's a lot about angles. You got to get the right angle on it and get the right drive through the corner. The track is so tight that we don't have much time to react, and it's, you got to work on your reaction timing, and it gets used to doing a little bang, a little bumping, because you got to be really aggressive.
There's a lot of bumping. There's some more guys out here that do more bumping than usual, but hey, you got to live with it. It's racing, but you only got 4 laps to deal with, so you got to make it move fast and get up front as fast as you can, because there's 4 laps to go very quick.
With a bad hole shot, you can be bumping, the whole race, every lap, every turn.
It's hard to go around the top side. It's too much further around. So you really got to bump your way through on the bottom.
4 laps does go fast. So if you can get out front and get away, it makes your night a lot easier.
The real fast guys will run the brake through the corner, and that way when you're on the gas, the engine's a little bit stalled out because you're on the brake so hard. So it's working both together, and as soon as you get that thing pointed straight, hang on and hope you go in the right direction.
So needless to say, as we go into heat highlights here, you want to get down on the bottom if at all possible. You have to scrap your way down there. If by chance you don't want to bump the guy, there's a real good chance you'll go off trying to miss him. So it is very difficult racing. Probably most importantly, as we heard these guys say, it happens so quick.
And that's how quick it can happen, as it does there to 34, Brad Rosine. As he'll try, he tries to get up.
Whoops.
Comes right back down again. There was a time, Ken, when they ran these ice bikes with no brakes at all.
David Espinoza, the winner of heat race number 3. Keep in mind, is your best average finishing position throughout the number of heat races that you compete in that determines your starting position. But as you can see, short of being on the inside, you can pretty much scrap your way there if in fact you want to get aggressive enough. Lance Woolen with the win there.
Move to heat race number 7, and right off the bat, bike number 28 will take off with the lead. That is Jonathan Reed. As we mentioned earlier, only 4 laps on a very, very tight track.
You got to run that tight line. You open up the inside at all, they will stick a front wheel in there, and yeah, they're not afraid to run over your left foot. They're all wearing protective booting, but it doesn't matter, man. You can get hurt in here pretty quickly.
Man, could you just imagine? Oh, man, that was a tough hit there.
Lean it over a little too far, maybe pick up the throttle a little too hard and get some tire spin. You can see him actually locking up the rear brake to set the bike right there.
Kevin Anderson on board there with that number 11, and he will win heat race number 9. You think they don't have traction? You can see it right there.
We continue on with heat races. Another thing you might notice is the full front fender. Oh! And I talked about earlier, if you try not to hit somebody, you can get yourself in trouble. That's what happens right there. He'd have been better just to drive underneath him and put a wheel on him. But you try not to be too aggressive. You're not out there to hurt somebody or literally beat and bang with everybody. Just a split-second decision is all that really is.
Final heat race number 12. 5 bikes involved altogether. And again, it's all about your finishes, and you'll run several heats. Oh, man, 56 in the wall. That's Sam Wiggins.
Yeah, it was Lance Woolen on the inside that pushed the other two out. The 27 bike, obviously the 56 bike right there of Sam Wiggins. With his fair share of problems, but we weren't finished as Woolen and Espinoza go down.
Tom McCrane would take the win, and I got to tell you, once again, it's all based on where you finish as to who makes the features.
We're going to get 3 more riders into the A main, courtesy of the LCQ, when we return. On the Edge is brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Herculiner Truck Bedliners, when the tough come easy. Welcome back to Lucas Oil on the Edge.
All right, with Tom McCrane right now, last chance qualifying coming up right now. You guys are walking the track. What are you looking for?
Ice is getting thin, and we're just looking at the thin spots so we know where they're at. Of the concrete starting to come through, but I guess they got a couple inches on top of some ice, and it's breaking off. And underneath is a little bit darker, so it looks like concrete. So we're just checking out where our line's got to be for this last chance qualifier to make it into the main event. And you definitely, you want to check where the concrete is, because if you hit that with your screws, it's like hitting ice in your car. So
Good night tire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And good night yourself.
Right.
I think he just said goodnight to Ted.
He did, didn't he?
Needless to say, though, if you do get onto that concrete with the studs and the tires, that thing's going to slide right out from underneath you. This is the LCQ. The top 3 will advance into the A main.
Last chance qualifier. I mean, you got to do it here. You see the starting lineup, and so far to be the largest volume of bikes we have seen in a race. So far it's been heat races. This is the last chance qualifier.
Rope up, hit the throttle, the 450s come to life. Already coming from the second row. How about the 56 bike of Sam Wiggins?
That's a good race right there. Following up the tail, one of the lady riders in the group, Megan Powell. And like I said, there's only going to be 3 of them that's going to make it. And Tom McCrane is the guy that Ted spoke to earlier that was really concerned about the concrete coming through the ice.
We saw Wiggins a little bit earlier, now in 3rd place. He would be the final transfer spot. He was one of the guys that went down earlier in a heat race, and 2 of them go down like that.
Oh, man, and that's the 28
bike of Jonathan Reed, part of those 2, and then it would be the number 34 of Brad Rosine.
And it does not look good there for Jonathan Reed as he lays over there, grasps with that right knee. Not sure what happened. Watch it here in replay.
The 34 of Rosine had to check out just a little bit. Of course, that left no place for Reed to go except for into the back of him. And it looks like when the bike snapped to the right, it might have gotten his knee.
Yeah, man, when you're not really going all that terribly fast. However, when the impact is that quick, you have no way to react yourself. The result could be a little bit of bodily harm there. That might be the case here for Reed.
He might have hurt his leg when he slid into the board as well. Not much working room here, especially when you come off of one of these things. So a tough night for both competitors. They won't make the A here. Very nice of Tom McCrane, who will make the A on the 99A there, of course, giving Reed a nice little ride there to the side. Needless to say, in some pain here. There are your top 3, McCrane, Moeller, and Wiggins.
The last chance qualifying race is always a battle to the end, with the riders doing everything they can to secure a spot in that main event. But now the lineup is set, and we're dropping the green flag when we come back. Believe me, you don't want to miss this race.
Stone cold when I roll, coming out of the hole. Get back, cause I'm out of control.
Live on the edge!
Sweet! How about some new ice, baby?
All right, well, we're close to the main event, and as the night wears on, the ice wears down. Right here, it's getting very thin. Less than an inch of ice, and below that, yeah, that dark is concrete. And if those studs and that tire hit that concrete, it's good night to you, good night to the tires. Pack it up, go home.
Time now for the A main. It will be 8 laps, so if you're going to get it done, man, you got to get it done quick.
I got to say one thing about the riders and about Ted Brunson. When they have spoke about that concrete coming through, I just wonder how hard it is for them to keep from saying, it'll be as slick as ice, man.
Let's get everybody started. 9 different competitors, 3 different rows, 2 of them way in the back. Will have their work cut out for them to try and get to the front here in just 8 laps. Of course, the front row will be stacked up with 4 competitors. They'll all be handlebar to handlebar. And of course, the 33 of J.R. Schnabel will be on the pole. Here we go.
Well, the bright yellow machine of Schnabel with indeed the best starting spot you could possibly have in this short track ice racing event here.
Kurt Cheney on the 15 in second place. Then you go back. It looks like the 11 of Kevin Anderson. We go on board with him, hanging on, and we've got a rider sitting right there in the middle, wishing he could move.
And look at Schnabel actually turns his head and looks back at his competition. Let's go on board with JR here.
Boy, and you can hear the gearing on these things as they are immediately maxed out in RPM. Just slam the throttle. You want peak horsepower. It's only going to be there for a couple seconds, so you got to be geared properly.
You can almost hear him go right straight to the rev limiter, Ken. Here, right there, right on the top of the RPM range. Sounds like it's hitting the rev limiter, but they're only there for just a 1/10 or 2 of a second.
Great battle, but so far, man, Schnabel has done an excellent job of driving away from these guys. He is on his game. He's got a great setup.
Anderson in the 11 tries to play catch-up here. And again, with Schnabel out that far, and the white flag in the final lap here.
Absolutely. Just got to hang on 2 more turns. Nobody even close enough to touch him here tonight. Congratulations to the number 33, J.R. Schnabel out of Campbellsport, Wisconsin.
Oh, nice wheelie right there at the end as he'll pick it up for the fans. That was good riding there. Will he do it again? Oh, he's going to grab that checkered flag.
And rightfully so. Fought his way through all the heat races, of course. Didn't have to be bothered with an LCQ. Starts off on the pole and takes it flag to flag.
It's just a good run overall, a flawless performance in the final event, in the main event for J.R. Schnabel.
Schnabel and then Cheney in second place. Kevin Anderson rounds out the podium.
All right, J.R. Schnabel with yet another victory. That's 4 in a row for you on the ice. You kick out of here tonight, you go down to Georgia and you race on the flat track outside. Never ends for you, but it probably never gets old, does it?
Yeah, it feels good. You know, I just wanted to get out there and have a clean race in the main, and got a good start, and I knew Kevin was right there, and he was going to push me the whole way, and ended up getting a lot of snow as we were riding, and it was getting a little slick, but things went good tonight, and we'll hopefully carry all this momentum from this ice series into the dirt track series and get some national wins.
Tell you what, I mean, you got that whole shot, you checked out, that was it. It was done. That race goes very fast for the guys behind you trying to catch up, but it's probably a lot slower when you're in front, isn't it?
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, the race like this, it's high intensity. It's you get out there, you gotta put that first lap in and just get yourself relaxed a little bit, and by the time you start breathing, the race is over.
Stay with us when we come back. Yeah, it's gonna get even crazier.
The first annual World Championship Snowmobile Watercross race was held in 1977. That race was held simply just to see who could make it 300 feet from the island of the shore on Memory Lake. But today, the racing is very competitive and impressive as snowmobilers dig into the water and battle to the finish line. The mod class is up now.
Not only do they make it the full distance, yeah, they even do some oval track racing out here on the water. It's pretty incredible. Snowmobile Drags on the water is what we'll focus on here today, presented by General Tire. Excellent stuff. This is amazing to watch. It's all going to happen here in Wisconsin. And yeah, they've got their game faces on. It's showtime. Let's go down and check it out.
All right, well, if you're looking for a guy who may be the dude to beat, it's this man right here, Jerry Rinker, all the way from Pennsylvania. Jerry, we know you used to race ovals, hurt your shoulder back in 05. Your wife said, no way, dude, but you said, I still got to go fast. So you're pushing 175 horsepower on the straightaway for 300 feet, and you're still going at it.
Yeah, that's correct. We're running about 72 mile an hour in 400 feet, and if I have a bigger pond, we can get a little more out of her, but hopefully this sled will hold up well today, and I'll put a good showing on.
Of course, the biggest thing with these sleds, especially yours, super modified, super light. and super fast.
Yeah, and super temperamental, right? Some days they run great, some days they don't. So, you know, we'll see how it goes today.
To come to this event, this is where it all originated, basically. I know it's got to be a big deal for you to be here, and to win at this event is got to be huge.
Yes, it is huge. This is our 4th year coming out here, and when you call something the World Championship, it should draw from all over the country, and that's why we're here. I want to run against the best, and I want to be the best.
Well, 10 years ago he started, and he's not that young of a guy, so he's got that adrenaline thing going on. Jerry Rinker, look for this guy, 72 plus miles per hour, only 300 feet.
We'll pick up the action with the quarterfinals. Extremely difficult machines to ride. I mean, you're basically riding a wheelie to get out there onto that water and settle that thing in, so you have to be very talented.
I mean, it's like riding a bucking bronco in some ways. If you watch these things close, some riders will choose to put the front skis down a little bit in the water, while others will steer them clear in the back. We'll watch them go.
Awesome stuff. The top 2 will advance. Get her stopped, baby, before you hit the hay bales. What a ride.
In this case, it appears all 4 riders are without the skis in the water. Watch it close. And these are called snowmobiles, by the way. You talk about finesse. Look at these riders. Unbelievable. By the way, you've got to keep it in your lane. That's inside those balls. The yellow and orange balls there, the orange being the finish line stripe.
It is unbelievable how good these guys are with these things. Needless to say, any one of them could flip over backwards.
Maybe like Chris Erzar right there to 987.
He is vertical in lane 4. Man, oh man, what a wild ride. Again, your top 2, Rinker and Mackey, will advance, but look at lane 4 right here.
Yeah, man, if you were comparing that to a drag car, you would say he's blowing the tire off. Meanwhile, though, Rinker and Mackey make it look easy.
Next group of 4, here we go.
They got the big high riding handlebars up there too, man.
Completely different riding style, just sitting on that one. Stands up after he takes off. Sitting in lane 1, looking over.
Looking over.
Like he was bracket racing, man. He was going to jump the finish line.
He's driving the finish line. Oh, great replay shot right there. Matt Ledden leaves that starting line, and it's crazy as he makes his way down. Right about now, he'll look over. He'll look over again right at the stripe.
It's like, I got you, baby. I got you.
That's the stuff.
Surf's up, hang 10? I don't think so. More like hang on. On the Edge has been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Herculiner Truck Bed Liners, when the tough come easy. We're back here at Memory Lane, Grantsburg, Wisconsin. Snowmobile Drags on water. You're watching Lucas Oil on the Edge. Here they are, grooming a starting line, baby. Let's go to 10.
Well, guys, when you look at it from a wide angle, this lake looks pretty nice and pretty big, and the water is pretty nice, but it's only about 6 feet deep. Now, we know this is where watercross originated, right here in Grantsburg, Wisconsin. So how do they do this? It's basically a large retention pond, for lack of a better phrase, because behind me, you see the dam that is connected with Memory Lake. They do this specifically for this event, fill this entire place up with water. Now, of course, with less depth, at only 5 or 6 feet, these guys are not getting as much bite from those paddles that they would like, and it's a little slippery out there.
It's not unlike what drag boat racers talk about, which is driving off the bottom. The depth of the water can affect the performance of the machine. Here's what the ladder looks like as we go into the semifinals. Your final 6 are as follows.
Yeah, 2 groups of 3, Ward, Mackey, and Fisher, right here in our first of 2 semifinal rounds. Again, we're down to 6, 3 in each matchup.
The 2-stroke machine scream to life. Your 2 that will move to the final, Ward and Fisher. Another look at it, lane 1. Ward lighting them up here.
Gets it up just a little bit high, and the quicker of the sleds have actually been a little bit closer to the water. That's a good smooth run, and you can see right toward the finish line, he got it to settle in. It's up a little bit there. Now about the halfway point, look at him. He'll settle it down, and toward the stripe and the wind light, right there in the eyes, he does it.
If you can get that sweet spot so that the sled is almost level without the front skis in the water, you're getting maximum grip on that belt.
And Jerry Rinker's also one of the better riders of getting that done. He does it right, and he's looking back.
Man, he makes it look easy, doesn't he? It's just amazing how well balanced that sled is.
Rinker rides probably the most consistent ride out here. Now watch him. He'll settle that front end down, and right about now he'll look back and see where he's at. Look how close the skis are to the water. Perfect run there.
Time now for the final four. Ward, Fisher, Rinker, and Bussey will be the competitors. You can see the bar extenders there. Handlebars up there for these guys to stand up and still have good control.
And I got to think, Ken, going in that Rinker, who's not in the lane that he's run most of the day, which has been lane number 1, has been moved over here to lane number 3. So watch lane 3. I would have to think Rinker would be the one to watch here. Oh, great onboard shot with Lauren Ward. Looks a little bit muddy right there at the starting line.
Old school starters here. They ask if they're ready. They give a nod. They throw a flag, and it's on.
And it is on, baby. Great race going on, no question.
Rinker getting some heat there at the beginning of the race from Fisher, but when it's all said and done, it was Rinker there in lane 3 that got it done, and he got off to a late start.
Man, in drag racing, you call that a handicap, but when you're the last rider to lead that starting line, as Rinker was in lane 3, now watch that thing. Watch that snowmobile starts to get closer to the water in the skis, and I mean, he just runs away with it, kid. Beautiful run.
No bounce whatsoever. Let's go on board with Ward. Made it look easy right there. Excellent job out of everybody.
All right, Jerry. Going fast just never gets old, does it?
No, it doesn't. The adrenaline rush is just unbelievable.
Well, you brought this thing all the way out from PA. We talked earlier, and you knew you were going to have a good race, and Fisher gave you a tight one. You beat him by just a little over a nose. Yeah. He really had that thing throttled out.
Yeah, that was about all we had there. So Jeff really came alive this afternoon.
So now you're the 2009 world champion here in Grantsburg. It's worth the trip, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is. This is a great organization and a great race they put on, and we love coming. And we'll be back next year to defend it.
Hope you enjoyed the snowmobiles on water and motorcycle ice racing on this week's show. Thanks to Ken Stout, Brian Olson, and Ted Brunson for bringing us all the action. Log on to speedtv.com and link over to newwavetv.com for a list of upcoming OTE shows, like desert off-road racing, mud bogs, door slamming drag racing, and much more. And remember, you're not living unless you're on the edge.